Okay, hi everyone. This is the next video. It's for composition class. It is the course syllabus along with the timeline and various other policies. So here we go. I changed the background. My wife said that the beach, I was overdressed for the beach. So I said, how about outer space? And she said, yes. So let me share my screen and we can dive into the course syllabus for this class. Okay, from the top. My name is Dr. Michael Downing, and this is Composition 200, Research and Composition. We're at Kutztown University of Pennsylvania, spring semester 2026. The class takes place in RL 17, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 till 10:45. Contact information. My office is in 438 Old Main. If you want to reach out to me, in-person contact is best, either in my office by appointment or in the classroom before or after class. I often allow time at the end of class in case you need to talk. Just give me a heads up prior to the class session. Hey, Dr. D. Students call me Dr. D. Dr. Downing is fine. Professor is fine. Just give me a heads up that you want to talk to me, and I'll allow some time at the end of class and we can cover it. My email address is here. Remember, I said don't look at Starfish or MyKU or Engage or, I don't know what all else. The university website, there's so many places where we would have to update our contact information every semester that that's all I'd be doing. We can talk about software proliferation, but that's a different topic. Let's continue. My office hours are Tuesday and Thursday. They're listed here. Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 to 9:30, and Wednesday from 9:30 to 12:30. Other hours by appointment. If we can't meet in person, Zoom is an option, but I'd rather see you in person. That's when, that's when business gets handled. Course description. This is an in-person class. So Comp 200 focuses on developing writing and research skills for success in college and in life. We'll identify topics of interest to you, narrow them effectively, locate and assess compelling and relevant sources, and develop clear, effective documents with accurate systems of documentation. That's the focus of the class. Along the way, we will examine, discuss, and follow various professional models while engaging in an ongoing discussion related to audience, tone, style, formatting, font choice, word count, and other document-related concerns. Please know that in my classes, sharp, effective writing is the priority, as opposed to using AI to generate a lot of plagiarized language or dumping lots of quotes to hit a word count, blah, blah, blah. I want tight, efficient, convincing writing. Teach me something. I will teach you to write down rather than write up, which means generating more words than you need and learning to kill your darlings. Meaning, if I'm shooting for 700 words or 750, I'm going to write 1,000. I will show you how to do that. And then you take out all the garbage. The phrase kill your darlings, that's been around since William Faulkner for sure. The idea is that you've created these lovely expressions in your writing. Oh, and you want to include them, but they don't contribute. In fact, they divert attention from where you should be going. So we learn to do that. Most definitely learn how to use your phone to generate drafts, which you will then revise and edit effectively. That's where the skill development is going to be highest in this class, right? Because as soon as I say there's 3,500 words that are required in this class and I want them to be good, solid words, you're going to say, oh my God, how am I going to generate 4,000 words? Then write down, what am I going to do? I will show you how to use your phone and I will encourage you to do that. I will hit you with all kinds of topics as the course unfolds. Then I'm going to send you into the library to compose on your phone, or you can do it on the weekend or whatever. You'll generate your drafts that way. There should be no excuse for not having a draft. And the draft can be a verbal download. I'd prefer if you take a look at it and groom it a little bit, right? Rather than just doing the slop dump. But, and I will show you how to do this. I will write with you. Okay, this strategy leans heavily on time management because we have 14 weeks to generate and revise 3,500 words of what I would call muscular writing. Be ready to bring fresh, revised written material to every class. because we will be reviewing drafts in class on a regular basis. I will connect you to a peer group, groups of 4, so that you can work with multiple partners on commenting and improving your work. I will write with you along the way so you can learn from my strategies and techniques. Believe me, right? I'm a big believer in working smarter, not harder. I'm not here to give you academic assignments that are just going to waste time. I want to teach a skill to you, and that is when you get a writing assignment, how do you get from point A to point B effectively and not cutting corners and accurately, write all of that without making the project bigger than it needs to be and have it be this sort of suffocating thing. We will engage in regular class discussions about the world around us and develop positions backed by research. Be sure to share your research with us verbally. We're going to talk about stuff, and then you're going to dive into how about like the use of ICE in the country, for example, or Iran or Venezuela or the culture wars, those kinds of things. We're going to start with the general stuff, and if we can, we'll move toward potentially more hot button topics, but no, we're not going to do that initially. We're going to talk about things in general. What about the environment? What about water quality? What about education? What about student loans? And I want you to develop positions on any number of these things. And I want to have ongoing conversations with you about it. Course materials. See D2L under content for the syllabus timeline, link to the Google folder. It's where we'll do our drafts, and links to the Atlantic, the New York Times, Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. KU students have access to all these sources through Rohrbach Library. Your first reading assignment, therefore, will be to create accounts and shortcuts to all of these resources so you can access them regularly on your phone. Go ahead and didn't mean to have it in full caps. Yeah, I want you to be checking in on these sources regularly. It's part of the class. This is our reading. Scan the headlines, read about what interests you, and then you're going to repeat that 5 times. We will set up a topics roster on the big screen. Your name will be there, and all of your names in a column, and you're going to tell me what your topics are going to be for 5 pieces of writing. 5 times 700 words is 3,500. That's what we're going to aim for. Although there is flexibility built into that, meaning if you want to write a 500-word piece to get going, and then something that's a little longer because you get rolling and you're up to 1,000, you see what I'm saying? And then 700, 800 until you get to 3,500 words. Our primary focus will be the Atlantic, so get in there and start reading and or listening. Many of the articles come in audio format, so put on your headphones and go for a walk and listen to something that grabs your attention. I want you to grow, right? Develop those brain connections. Course rationale, research skills are critical for professionals, students, and everyday people, whether writing a report for work, a paper for history class, or determining what kind of car to buy, pulling together information, evaluating it, reaching accurate conclusions, and publishing it, and or acting upon it according to expected, accepted standards are all part of living and working in the world. Course objectives, students are expected to attend class regularly. That's huge. Complete readings from assigned sources, and what I've just talked about. Think critically, question everything. Engage verbally with the professor and other students. Verbally discuss topics and research results in class. Be prepared. I found an article on, and you're going to tell us what the article said. Be prepared to read directly from the article. I want to hear what the article says. Develop 3,500 words of excellent revised written content. Details in terms of length and style to be negotiated. Revise effectively and proofread closely. Participate in peer groups and develop a relationship with the Writing Center. Work on vocabulary, grammar, and spelling. Typically, those will take the form of a worksheet. I'll come into class and be like, fill this out, and you'll look up the vocabulary words. We'll do a little spelling. These will be in class, and they'll be exercises, so they're not quizzes. I can't get into grading all of that stuff, right? I'm looking broadly at your work and trying to provide guidance to usually 100 students a semester is what I'm doing, trying to provide writing guidance to that. I can't get hung up in grading too many quizzes like that, right? Develop personal literacy related to audience purpose, rhetorical strategies, and supporting evidence. Cite sources properly. Submit drafts of assignments to the proper Google folder prior to deadline, and submit final PDF versions to D2L prior to deadline. I will guide you through all of this stuff, but here are the goals. Here's the timeline. I am not going to read this to you, but I will show you that draft, final, draft, final, draft, final is going to be rocking through the course like that. So if I were you, I would put draft one is due on February 5th. I'd put that right into my calendar. Then there's going to be in-class activity and global feedback and in-class activity. So it's, right? I'm a drummer and percussionist, so it's going to be a rhythm. I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and it's going to be consistent like that throughout. All right, that is all there for you to look at. Reading assignments are posted to D2L under content. Actually, no, this is going to be links for this class posted to links posted to Google Drive, and then you're also going to have your subscriptions. Mm-hmm. Okay, hang in there. We're more than halfway. Attendance, participation, documentation, and accommodations. This is an in-person class. We will meet 28 times plus a final. Students are expected to be there for all of it. Class sessions are loaded with points and loaded with information. So come to class, earn the points, and get the info. Absences will put you at a deficit that you cannot make up unless you have an accommodation letter or legitimate documentation. So beware. If you just fall behind because, oh, I'm not coming to class, but I'll save the day at the end because I'll run in and he's got all the assignments listed. I'll just do them all and slide the papers under the door. It's not going to work. Okay. I talk about that later, but I want to emphasize it now. What happens is because you've missed, it's a sore spot. Students will miss like, I don't know, 8 class sessions. That's a month of class. And then they come in and they hand me this stuff, and it does not incorporate the things that we've been talking about in the classroom. So I go through it then, and you fail. Maybe you can scrape through with a D, but let's not play that game. Come to class, do the work. Now, officially, and I'll go to the mat with you on this because we're allowed to come up with our own reasonable attendance policies. 8 or more unexcused absences in a Tuesday, Thursday class automatically converts to a failing grade. I cannot, in good faith, certify to the university completion of the course with that level of absenteeism. That is equivalent to 10 hours of missed class, and you can't miss. Well, right. Imagine if I missed 10 hours of our class. If I just took the month of February off and said, figure, I mean, right, it's ludicrous. So I'm not going to play that game. If you want to haul me in front of the department chair or the appeals committee or the provost, I will go there. And I will go there with my roster and I will say student missed 8 classes. And then I will point to my syllabus that says any eight absences or more result in this. So yeah, I get fighting about that because it's sensitive. I pour myself into these classes. And to think that you can miss 10 hours of that engagement and be like, yeah, I still get it. I still get this. Is all right. On we go. I do receive accommodation letters directly from the university. If you would like to follow up with me in person on an accommodation, please feel free to talk before or after class or schedule an appointment. If you have an emerging situation, medical, familial, accidental, familial, yeah, I'm missing a comma here. Familial, accidental, legal, I will work with you, but proper documentation is required. Acceptable forms of documentation include, but are not limited to, prescriptions, Dr. Dentist notes, vehicle repair receipts, legal papers, notes from parents. Yes, I've only gotten maybe a dozen of those in my whole career, but on occasion, uh, you know, somebody dies, grandfather dies, and you might not have the little card from the funeral home. So, and I don't want to be an ogre in these situations and say I need to have it, but for consistency, I need to have it. And then I give you the points and we're good. But I'll get an email from a parent from time to time. Other situations are handled on a case-by-case basis. I will support you, but communicate with me immediately if you know you have to miss some classes or shortly thereafter. Then there's a statement here from the KU Student Handbook. I'm not going to read that to you. There's a link here as well. There is a student handbook. It's called The Key. I'm not going to go down that path right now. Let me show you where we're at in the grand scheme. So I'm gonna end with P, syllabus timeline subject to modification. So we are getting there. University Writing Center. I will require you to visit the Writing Center at least once, and ideally create a regular habit of visiting. This is a composition class, so I do require that. It is a free service for students where those students offer advice and assistance with writing assignments from any course or subject. Tutors can assist in improving the composing process, as well as with difficulties with development, organization, style, documentation, and mechanics. They can ask questions that help you to see your work in new ways and help your brain pathways connect. Um, don't make this harder than it needs to be. I will write things like a single page. I'll show it to my wife and she'll say, it all makes sense except for this. I didn't understand that. I go, oh, yeah, okay. And I fix it. That's what I'm after. We get another set of eyes on our papers as writers. My wife writes things and she gets them to me. She drops them off in my box. And I look and I say, oh, this is good. Maybe you want to move this up. That's all it takes. You don't need to go up to the writing center and spend hours there. Just have them look at your work. It's a good habit. My job to get you through college at this point. And if you have to write papers for history class or psychology class, do your draft verbally, and then take it to the writing center. We'll talk about AI in a moment because I know that that's looming. So I got all that. To be blunt, nobody writes in a vacuum. All serious writers have at least one editor. Get another set of eyes on your work. That includes me. That includes professional writers that I know. We're all dying for people to look at our work, actually. The Writing Center is located on the main floor of the library. There's a phone number, there's an email address. They are great and can help. Take your work to them. Do you see why you read your work out loud? Because you catch errors. You was not misspelled until I read it out loud. There's a whole thing behind that. I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to go down that. Course policy on the use of generative AI. Now, I intend to have conversations with all my students, particularly composition class, but I guess all my writing students about AI. I've got particular feelings about it. Um, to be blunt, I think it's a giant plagiarism machine. To also be blunt, it's not going to go away. It's going to increase its presence in our lives and it's going to be used and it's going to be used diabolically by people who are trying to control and manufacture false messages. Yeah, it's going to be deep fakes and all that stuff. And I worry that we're going to be swimming in a sea of misinformation and disinformation because there's going to be so much language that's generated. I mean, it's just immense. It's going to exponentially grow. And you know, I used to be a technical writer. I spent quite a bit of time in San Jose and Silicon Valley. I think I've been out there, I don't know, 6 or 7 times. I've been out to Vegas and Los Angeles and Denver, Chicago, all over the place, Toronto, Atlanta. If you have questions about my travel as a professional writer, I'm happy to talk about that. But one of the things I want to talk about now is this: there is a notion in Silicon Valley that silicon is basically sand. It is the most frequently occurring mineral on Earth. And silicon, sand, is taken and shaped and fashioned into silicon chips, right? It's doped and all of that. Other things are added to it to get it to be a carrier of electricity so that it can do these computations. That's what a chip essentially is. And they've gotten bigger and better and bigger and better. We are going to talk about data centers at some point. I don't know if you know what that is, but I'm going to provide a lot of education in that area, and you're going to do your research on that as well. What I'm getting to here is there is lore, Lore, in Silicon Valley that says that silicon, silicon is trying to become sentient, meaning self-aware, and is using human beings as a host to do that. So in its way, it is a parasite. And, you know, I've shared this with people before. My brother's pretty tech savvy. I said it to him. He's like, yeah, right, whatever. But no, this is what I've watched, and it has been consistent with my experience. I'm worried about it, right? What happens when this other entity, silicon, becomes self-aware? Is it going to have its own interests in mind, or is it going to be us? And you're going to say, well, it can't think like a human being. Well, dang, it sure looks like it's trying to think like a human being. I guess we can unplug it at some point, but I don't know. I tried to reset my dishwasher the other day and it remembered the settings. I shut it off, wanted to clear it. It remembered the settings. When I turned it back on, it remembered the settings because I have to go throw the circuit breaker. All right. All right. I'm ranting now, and I understand that I'm ranting. Big conversation to be held in terms of technology, digital technology. These damn things, your digital tether. Yeah. Okay. Course policy on the use of generative AI. There are essentially three types of established academic policies related to the use of large language models in coursework: prohibited, negotiated slash transparent, or permitted. The policy for this class is negotiated. That may surprise you, but I can't just say it's prohibited because I understand that it's everywhere around you. Students are going to use it. It's how do you use it? And I'm ready to have that conversation. So students may only use large language models in this class with the knowledge and permission of the instructor. What does that look like? If you write a draft and you work on the draft a little bit, and then you say, hey, Downing, I want to take this draft and I want to run it through AI, ChatGPT, to see what it does. Okay, let's experiment. But you cannot then take that and put your name on it and submit it because it is not yours. You see what I mean? Your writing needs to be your writing, just as mine is. The stuff that I present to you has been written by me, not by AI. Ugh. So we can see what it does, and it brings in the whole question of, whether Grammarly is a computer assist, of course, and whether spell check is a computer assist. It is, right? And you can do all those kinds of things. It's a big conversation, which we will have over time because it's not going to go away. So I encourage experimentation. Just don't hide it. I have in my research paper classes previously, with the class watching, said, dear ChatGPT, write a 3,500 word essay on such and such topic in an MLA style, blah, 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 go. And it did, but it didn't generate 3,500 words. It generated, I think, like 2,500 words. Yeah. And then the system of documentation was a mess. It doesn't know how to do that. Now it's going to improve in all those areas. But just to show where it is right now, I'm not afraid to do that in a composition class and then what has it generated? Has it generated hallucinations? It's generated other people's work. It's not your work. So yeah. Now, large language models can certainly serve as a tool in certain situations. Let me see if I can highlight this. For example, I asked it to put together a 28-day itinerary for a trip to Ireland. It gave me tremendous first draft. It would have taken me days and weeks to figure all that out. In that way, it serves as a good aggregator. It is also good with format. It can provide excellent fill-in-the-blank structure for a resume, for example. It's a good way to get started without using the restrictive template generated by Microsoft Word. Okay, therefore, you can ask it to generate an essay on your topic to see what it might look like. However, that's where you run into the problems. How much revision do you have to do to make it your own? Can it ever be your own writing? I think really not. Barely. It just takes a lot. You've got to be really good at it. Yeah. All right. Use it as a model, but don't submit it. To be clear, students may only use large language models in this class only with the knowledge and permission of the instructor. If I start to see that your writing is this perfect Wikipedia sterile kind of writing that this stuff that LLMs generate, I'm going to ask you about it. It's going to be on the screen, and I'm going to be, what is this? Uh-huh. Plagiarism. Remember that AI itself is a form of plagiarism. LLMs steal or scrape material from the web in order to sell that material back to us. Yes, there are emerging paywalls for AI use. So, plagiarism is the act of taking the work of others and presenting it as one's own without properly acknowledging the source. At its worst, plagiarism is exact copying, but it also includes stealing a paraphrased version of the opinions and work of others without giving proper credit. It also includes covert use of AI. Potential sanctions: student may be given a failing grade for the assignment. Letter grade penalty within the course may also be taken. Student may be given a failing grade of F for the course. Instructors have the right to assign such a grade for any instance of academic dishonesty, and the student may not withdraw from the course in order to avoid this penalty. Student may be temporarily suspended from enrollment. Student may be permanently dismissed from enrollment. The fix, mention your sources in your articles and be clear when you are borrowing. Write your own work. It creates connections in your brain and makes you smarter. Accommodations. I receive accommodation letters directly from the university each semester. If you would like to follow up with me in person, please feel free to talk before or after class or schedule an appointment. Title IX, Clery Act. I'm not going to read all this to you, but I want to let you know that I am a mandated reporter by law. So if you come to me and say that you are under threat physically, you're being harassed, stalked, those kinds of things, I need to report that right away. And I will tell you that. So if you choose to share that with me, it's I guess I'll just say this. I'm not looking for this kind of thing in your writing. This is not about personal disclosure. You're developing opinions on things and you're doing research to support it, but letting you know about all that. This has happened twice to me in my 37 years of teaching. And both times I said to the student, you're telling me about this. I told them in real time that I'm going to have to say something. And they said, that's fine. And then what happens is the university reaches out to that student to make sure they want to make sure that the student, both female students, are okay. Masks in class are optional, but encouraged during flu season. Masks during in-person office hours may be required. If you're not feeling well and want to meet with me, we go to Zoom. But yeah, I've been coughed on directly and then become sick. So let's not do that. Syllabus timeline is subject to modification. We've arrived at the end. There may be times when we need to make certain allowances or modifications to the course syllabus and or timeline. I'll discuss all changes with the class before implementing them. I typically never add anything. Instead, changes come when we don't have enough time to complete certain assignments, and I propose we simply drop them. I usually don't get much pushback. There are some resources here. I should probably update that someday year. But I think that's all I have. Let's stop the share. Thanks very much, and on we go.